Someone who has been holding their feelings back from you is looking for the right words to say. They've been practicing, scripting, rehearsing. This is a big moment for this person. There's a sense of kind of like stepping over a threshold in this connection that there's no turning back from. This is somebody that has taken the time to make sure that they are really ready for the next step between the two of you. They might have held back, or there was a bit of resistance because of the nature of your dynamic, like how you've met one another. This could be a friend that's getting ready to confess their feelings. Something where you or them could have been fresh out of a breakup when you met, and there was almost a sense of like, okay, before I move into a new commitment with someone, before I start dating again, before I start putting myself out there or I enter into anything very serious, I want to make sure that I'm ready. This person, it feels like they don't want to mess around. They don't want to waste your time. They also have been putting a great deal of importance on the timing being right for them, but again, also kind of like getting the words right, because they don't want to talk fear into like these plans, or into the nature of something that is almost like a very heartfelt expression to you. So it's like they've been having that kind of internal conversation, trying to sort of amp themselves up into this place of like, okay, I'm ready to open my heart to love again. I can't deny these feelings that have developed, and I'm ready to express those out loud. Something where it's like they don't even want to touch on the subject of sort of like why they've been holding back, or even kind of use the word fear in what it is that they are wanting to express to you. This may be somebody, that kind of knows about like law of attraction, manifestation, and so there's a sense of kind of like, let's just focus on the positives moving forward from this point. Let's take a step in a new direction, but it is with positivity that we are leading forward. Like when I open up to you, you hear what I have to say. It feels like they're pretty certain that you're on the same page with them, and so it's just a matter of like asking, will you hold my hand and walk forward with me? This is how I feel. I'm pretty sure you feel the same way, or kind of like you've been waiting a while to sort of hear these words, hear this honesty, hear this confession from me, and so here it is. Not as just kind of, let me dump all this energy onto you emotionally. Let me kind of spill my truth, and then I just stand there and do nothing. But it feels like this is something that comes, with an offer, like a big question, something that's sort of like, I'm ready to become serious. Would you be my girlfriend? For some, this is somebody that's getting ready to propose. Like, will you be my wife? Will you spend your life with me? Will you go out on a date with me? That might be like a big step forward for someone. But it feels like, yeah, there's a lot of importance that they're putting on this, like the right word choice. Something where they also, if it's, depending on the nature of your circumstance and sort of what this conversation would entail, it might also be something where it's like, I want to get the details just right, as far as the mood, as far as the setting, as far as the timing, the decor, the ambiance, everything. They're really setting the tone for that in a way that it will be a very special occurrence for the two of you, a very memorable occurrence, not just something that's like, hey, I've got this urge to kind of speak my truth, so here it is, but it's something that it feels like it's been a long time coming, or again, they've really been sort of checking in with themselves, like, am I ready? Am I ready to say these things out loud? Am I ready to speak life into this next chapter between the two of us? And they have come to a place of like a unanimous vote inside of them that yes, this is the time to move forward. And so with that is kind of like, okay, so how do I sort of get that ball rolling? How do I kind of create that right opportunity for myself and for you? Not something that it's like, oh, the timing's off and I want to wait, but this is somebody, it feels like that there's a lot of kind of nervous anticipation. Like they want to say this. They don't want to hold this truth back any longer. Sooner rather than later, they want to get this all out on the table. We have, I am consumed with desire for you, and I'm hoping you will say yes to what I offer. So even if there's like a fear of rejection, or, kind of a sense of like, well, whatever they would need to open up about or speak on, it's not been said out loud. It's, there's chemistry, there's deep eye contact, there's been flirtation, or, you've kind of like danced around the topic of emotions, romance, love with one another. There's like, I can't hold this truth in anymore. I need to know one way or another. And I'm so hopeful that, you feel the same way, that this is going to be something that is very welcomed by you, that you will welcome me even closer into your life, even closer into your world, that you will accept this invitation or offer to be a bigger part of my reality. There's a sense that, again, they've thought long and hard about this. They want to get the words just right. They want to make sure that it is very clear, their meaning, that there's nothing left to chance, that there's nothing you have to like read between the lines or, infer. It might even be something where they've gotten really wordy about it and they're trying to kind of just condense it down, make it very neat, make it very crisp, make it very direct and to the point, because they're not wanting even for like an instant for you to sort of feel fearful, like, kind of like sending a text like, we have to talk later. Like they want to avoid something like that, where then you're sitting around all day like, okay, what are we talking about? Like, are you getting ready to leave me? Like, what's happening? Like they don't want that kind of thing to be the case. So this is somebody that's almost like they're keeping their peace at this particular point in time. They're silent. Even if you're still dealing with them, you're still interacting with them, you still have contact with them, it feels like this component of themselves, they're holding back. It's behind lock and key, but it's with a very good reason, because it's a sense of like, I want to bring that forth to you in a way that it's like very unmistakable. That this isn't something where I'm just like dipping my toe in the water. I'm doing a full cannonball into the deep end as far as the emotions are concerned, and I want it to be very unmistakable to you, sort of like what I mean when I open up and speak about these things emotionally. We also have, telling you how I feel has been a big struggle for me. Every time I go to tell you, I choke up and can't find the words. Yeah, so they've been on the brink of this confession more than once. And so this may be something where, you kind of might have sensed that sort of like tension within them, kind of like, okay, the signs are indicating something's going to happen, or, they're sort of like leaning in closer. It feels like the moment is right for like this big breakthrough between the two of us, and then nothing happens. You might be at the point of starting to kind of question your own intuition. Like, am I reading too much into this? Is this one-sided? Am I the only one that sees long-term potential here between the two of us? And so again, kind of like a sense of urgency is with this energy here, kind of like, no, don't confuse things. Don't mistake me. I'm actually like really into you. I'm feeling a lot. I'm wanting to have more openness and more honesty between the two of us. I want you to know how I feel. I want to share these beautiful feelings with you. I don't just want to like keep them inside, keep them all bottled up. So again, this is somebody that is kind of like, they want to, even if you don't, know other than what's come through in this reading, that it's sort of like, yeah, they wanted to make this confession to you before, but they didn't. There's a sense of almost like making up for that, like the disappointment that never actually happened materially. It might have just been like confusion or uncertainty for you, but within them, it's like they're disappointed with themselves. Like, why didn't I just say something? Why did I stutter? Why did I hold back? Why did I miss that opportunity or moment? And so there's kind of like they're pushing themselves forward into this place of like, you feel so much better when you say that, when you just get that all out. It's going to release so much kind of tension. It's going to open up so many more doors of possibility between the two of you. And so it feels very right. This is somebody that like the heart and mind are unified. All their instincts are telling them to just take this leap of faith forward, to just do it, to just get it out, to just kind of share all of that with you. We also have, I feel like everything has been trying to keep us apart, but love will always win. So they understand that they have like self-sabotaged in this connection up to this point in time, in terms of like, we could have gotten down to the business of loving one another a long time ago or sooner, where it's almost like they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves to kind of like get things perfect, get things right. And it's kind of like less is more in this circumstance, but clarity is kind of the key here. So this is somebody, again, that is sort of like, okay, I've been, wasting enough time. I've been kind of like, feeding into certain fears, or I let my hesitation or the uncertainty of kind of like, ooh, is this gonna be mutual? Is it gonna be reciprocal? Am I gonna be rejected? Am I gonna be denied? Is this something that's gonna undermine the nature of what we have with one another? Am I ready for this? Am I ready to open up my heart to love again, or to whatever like the next experience between the two of us can be? Like, they've entertained for long enough kind of the downside of things. And so now this is somebody that wants to actively move to kind of push this connection in the direction of an upswing. They want to take that leap of faith. They know that they are the only ones standing in their way. If there had been obstacles between the two of you, it feels like mostly this is somebody that might have caught feelings for you very quickly, and they were like, okay, I need to make sure that like we take time to get to know one another before we just like rush forth into, I'm opening my heart to you, and then we're intimate, and then it becomes like a sexual connection, and we're attaching labels and titles, and we're moving in with one another, and it's like moving very quickly. This person might have definitely kind of been in the energy of like overthinking, like you're starting at one point and they're already thinking 10 steps ahead, which has been something that has kind of tripped them up. And so they're recognizing that anything like that has occurred, or something where it's like you met them and they were sort of fresh out of a breakup, or you were fresh out of a breakup, and it's like, okay, let's just make sure that this is what we're ready for. This is what we want. That this isn't something where, it's kind of just repeating the patterns of brokenness in previous situations, or something that kind of like we take steps forward and we're not ready. That might be something that came from their end of kind of just like, I want to make sure that, I don't get kind of spooked if we're getting really open and very intimate with one another, and the fears of the past come in. I don't want to leave you with uncertainty. I don't want to ghost. I don't want to gray rock you. I don't want to pull away. I don't want to just kind of, dive in and then jump out really quickly. And so it's like they've been trying to almost control time in this situation, set the pace and tone in a way that has worked to kind of like serve their ego, not in terms of like they want to kind of control the outcome of the circumstance, but really it feels like something that would be like healthy ego, kind of honoring the reality of where you were at when these feelings first came online with them. But now they've reached a point of like, it doesn't make any sense to sort of feed that narrative, to empower that spectrum. That this is something that it's kind of like, I want to push beyond that. I want to move forward. I know that I'm the limit or block in this circumstance. And the only way that we can get around that is if I step beyond this kind of like urge to sort of like wait for divine timing, or to kind of like get lost in the details, or question if sort of like what I'm giving will be received properly. This is somebody that's like, let's take that leap of faith forward. There's no time like the present. I can't hold these feelings in any longer. We also have, I want to wrap my arms around you, hug you tight, and never let you go. So this is somebody that wants to claim you as their own. They are feeling almost like very territorial, very protective, very possessive over you. But it's like this is an undefined connection. They don't have any rights to say, you're mine, because you've not had that kind of discussion with one another yet. You've not agreed to, become exclusive, become monogamous, align your lives in that way, to the exclusion of other options or other partners. And so there's a sense of they understand that kind of dichotomy inside of themselves. Like, I'm feeling that I want all the privileges of like a boyfriend or a fiance or a husband, but this is an undefined connection. And so rather than kind of like fault themselves for that or get frustrated, it's like, okay, what's the solution? I open up about my feelings and we put some labels on this. We define it in some way. We start to move in that direction and kind of like, yeah, these feelings are deep. These are big feelings. They're undeniable. And it doesn't serve either of us for me to kind of just like hold that in. It feels like the idea of the fact that they have not claimed you up to this point in time, and like anybody could come along and give you a song and dance that seems more reliable than what they have shown so far. If this person has a bit of like emotionally avoidant tendencies, then they're like, oh man, what if somebody comes along and they're like emotionally available, they're saying and doing all the right things, and I've just been standing here feeling all these big feelings and like, ooh, I don't know if I'm ready, I think I might need more time, and then I miss out on this opportunity. I can't have that. And so this is something where, they're lighting a fire under themselves, kind of like, just go for it, just do it. You're as ready as you're ever going to be. We also have there's no doubt in my mind where you belong, and it's with me. Yeah, so again, there's another confirmation of somebody that wants to claim you, somebody that wants to, be officially your plus one, somebody that does not like the idea of somebody else coming in and taking what they perceive as like their place by your side. And so the only way for that to make sense and not be totally just like delusional is for them to open up about these emotions, to have that discussion, to be like, look, I'm in love with you. I feel a lot for you. Let's explore this. Let's see what happens next. Will you be mine? We also have my ego does not want me to admit to myself how much of a hold you have on me. Yeah, so their ego has been holding them back, but it feels like it is something that it wasn't just kind of like feeding into those fears and like, I don't know if this is real, I don't trust my feelings, but it's like these feelings came on very intensely, very quickly, or whatever they were kind of like last doing in their life before they came into contact with you. There's been a great sense of understanding, like, I got to make sure the door to my past is shut. I got to make sure that I'm not stepping forth into this new chapter of my life or into this new opportunity with you, kind of bringing a lot of that baggage behind. This might be somebody who, had kind of had a wake up call of like things they needed to change about themselves, choices that they were making, types of people that they were gravitating towards. What they might have defined as their type in the past could have been something that was very toxic, that brought out like a lower version of themselves. They could have come out of a karmic or a toxic relationship, karmic or toxic marriage, and they needed some time to heal, some time to kind of like let the dust settle and find themselves, get back into their own energy, and to make sure like wherever they were moving next in terms of love and romance, it wasn't just going to be a repeat of whatever it is they brought to the table in the previous circumstance and whatever it is that they allowed into their life in that previous circumstance. So you have passed these kind of tests that their ego has sort of put forward, flying colors. It doesn't feel like anything where this person's like, let me just stand back and test you and see if you can go the distance in this circumstance. But it's almost something like they were testing themselves, like, can I make sure that when I take a step forward in the direction of love again, when I listen to my heart and answer its call, that it's kind of like all of me is on board with that I'm not just moving according to lust, I'm not just moving according to loneliness, I'm not just moving according to like unconscious patterns. And something where this person had been telling themselves, like, if this potential between the two of us is real and if it's meant to be, then you'll be here when I'm ready to take that step forward. And this isn't the energy of somebody that has kind of been like wasting your time, stringing you along for years and years and years. It's just been somebody that's very slow to progress, or something where they've not spoken on these feelings up to this point in time. The chemistry's been building, but they've been silent about the truth of their heart. And it's all been for a very good reason, because they really like you. They really see serious potential here, and they have wanted to make sure within themselves, like, I can step forward to you and be present, mind, body, and soul. That I'm not kind of like looking over my shoulder waiting for the past to catch up with me, that I'm not comparing this situation with other situations that, left me worse for wear, or that I'm ashamed of, or that I regret. This is somebody that looks at you as a fresh start in love. It's like a fresh beginning. You're very different from anybody that they've known. It's a different feeling. It's come along in a different sort of way. And so this is, again, something where they're kind of following a path that they had forged for themselves of like choosing different or choosing better. And so in alignment with that, it's like, I need to choose different and choose better about how I'm moving in terms of love and romance. And that's what they've done with you so far. And so now it's like, okay, the ego is satisfied. You sat there, you let these feelings develop. This other person, you, the viewer, has been as patient as you can be, or has been kind of like moving along to sort of the tone that this person has set, or moving in your own direction. Kind of like, I'm not going to wait around. I'm not going to sit here and, if they don't know what they want, then fine, I'll keep my options open. And if that's the case, this person has definitely gotten that message loud and clear. And so there's like, okay, there's no time like the present. It's time to make a move forward. We also have commitment is a big deal for me. I do not take this life-changing decision lightly. Yeah, so they want to offer you something real, something long-term, something stable. This isn't somebody that's just kind of like, I think I like you. I think I'm starting to feel something. I think I want to explore, like, kind of, let's go out on a date. Let's kind of take this to the next level. And that it's coming with just sort of a curiosity. There's almost like a certainty within them. What they feel is real, especially that energy of feeling very like territorial, very possessive, almost like the idea of you with someone else makes their blood boil. And so the only way for them to kind of justify that to themselves, or to, kind of decompress that in some sort of way, is getting this truth out, speaking that truth out loud to you, so that this isn't just something that they keep bottled up, so that the two of you are able to explore this potential, the right way, in a real way, to see what happens. So all of this kind of slow going, any sort of delays that you may have perceived, or anything where, for some of you, it's going to be like, wow, how surprising, like the things that this person tells you, you're like, that's deep and that's great, because I've caught feelings, or I'm falling in love with you too, but you've been going through the same thing. You like mirroring each other. You're like, I didn't want to get in over my head, or kind of just be the only one that was falling. And so it feels like them opening up first, them being very direct, them being very clear, them expressing this truth to you. It does something very beautiful for the two of you, being able to like be on that same page with one another, to talk about those feelings. And this is somebody that, like, when they step over that threshold towards you, when they make this offer, when the conversations start to switch to this, or the action steps are moving in that direction of like commitment and being a couple, or getting closer to one another, this is something where they bring the ability to go the distance. They bring consistency. There's like a readiness within. All signs are pointing to yes. All lights are green. They're moving forward in the direction of kind of accelerating this love story further. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.